with over 1,000 samples of carpet, LVP, hardwood tile, area rugs, and window finishings. It's so much more than floors. It's a wide selection of kitchen and bathroom countertops, cabinets, tiles, shower inserts, and more. And if you want to upgrade your countertop, you definitely want to reach out to our friends over at Professional Floor Covering. They will take care of your kitchen or your bathroom or both if that is what you desire. The material, color, and pattern of a countertop all play a major role in how a kitchen or bath remodel will turn out. They offer a large selection of quartz, granite, marble, and laminate countertops, and they will help you find the perfect countertop that fits with both your lifestyle and design. And now, without further ado, we will send it over to the Daily Dodge TV studios with Terry Bell for today's community comment.
Thank you very much, Jake. We are pleased to welcome Beaver Dam Police Lieutenant Jeremiah Johnson to the program this morning. We're going to be talking about, a lot of things that come up this time of year. But if you have a question or a comment, we invite you to join us at 920-887-95. There he is.
Hey, good morning, everybody.
He was hiding. Actually, we need to turn the camera around. That's no good. Appreciate the help.
Yeah, no problem.
If you have a question or comment for Jeremiah, go ahead, call the program. You can call or text at 920-887-9595, or you can call 885-4446. And welcome to Community Comment.
Thank
Good
you.
to see you as always.
It's good. Yep.
Yeah.
Once a month, here we are. Always a fun time.
So we were in early November now, and for a few days, winter parking rules have been in effect. How's that going?
So far, so good. The clerks who handle our application process are telling me that they have actually, I think they're saying this is a record year as far as the number of applications that they've gotten. And I guess that's a good thing. That means people are paying attention earlier this year. Sometimes what happens with us is, and the reason why we're talking about this now, is we have the winter parking application process. People forget about it. They don't take care of it. And then they get their first parking ticket and say, oh, man, I really need to get a parking pass. And then we get this big rush of applications that come in after our first snowfall. So that's...
And the first snowfall may be coming Saturday night,
Saturday
I hear.
is what I heard, correct. Yes, 1 inch.
Maybe.
Is that, yeah, okay. So, I mean, I'll take it if it's going to be 1 inch. That's fine. I'm not looking forward to a foot snowfall here. It's going to be bad,
Not yet.
Yeah, exactly.
It's
exactly.
early.
But it's coming. It's Wisconsin. It's inevitable. But so I just wanted to encourage everybody to apply. That if you have to park on the street, please apply for your parking pass now. Get that parking pass on there. It's good for the whole snowy season all the way up until April 1st. This year and next year, the over the year season there. But go ahead.
Does it cost anything if you're a resident?
It does. It's $25 for the one to park on the street, and that covers the entire winter parking season. If you need to park in one of the public parking lots, you have to buy a pass. It's $10 per month, so it's $120 for the whole year. But that covers you, so you can park in summer in that lot as well. So there are there's many residents actually that take advantage of that, being able to park in the city parking lots. So that'll cover you for the winter parking season and year round. So that's why that one's a little bit more expensive. But yeah, if you need to park on the street or on one of those lots, you can fill out your application at the Beaver Dam Police Department website. So go City of Beaver Dam, click on Police, and then you'll see a winter parking application towards the bottom of the page. And you can also Google Beaver Dam Police Department winter parking application. A couple things you can do. You can either fill it out online and it'll get sent to us and we'll start the process, or you can print it off, fill it out, turn it in to us in person, or you can stop by, get a copy of it, fill out in person. Either way, at some point in time, it's $25. You have to swing by, pick up the pass once it's been approved. We'll give you a call when it is. And then you have to pay your $25 in person. So there is one trip involved to the Beaver Dam Police Department, so it's not completely online yet, but we're looking at that. But it's a relatively easy application to fill out. You need to know your license plate, and you should, and I highly recommend, put a good reason as to why you need it. Let's say, for instance, you've got kids that are in college and they're going to be home over the Christmas, month until the semester starts up again, and in February, you're going to need that extra space. Just put an explanation on there. Some people like put, well, winter parking, that's why I need it, and it's like, well, no, we want to know kind of why, that you're not parking in your driveway. You can say, I've got 2 spaces in my driveway for cars, and I have 4 cars from the 4 people that live here. That's a pretty good explanation as to why you got to be out on the street. So,
Well, a lot of renters need to park on the street.
exactly. Yes. Yeah. Yep. And I mean, some of the older, buildings in the older neighborhoods in the city, when those houses were built, they didn't even come with garages. Some of them, the cars weren't around, automobiles weren't a thing. So you got tightly spaced areas, not a whole lot of space to park, and we get that. So that's why we approve those types of applications. But I mean, we just want to make sure that we try to minimize as many cars out there at any given time, so the snowplows can get through. And make sure that they can clear the roads and keep them safe and stuff. That's why we have the application process. That's why we don't just give them out to anybody who wants them. We have to go through the application process.
And there's a grace period, I understand,
100%.
early in the season.
Yes. And I'm not encouraging people to kind of get lackadaisical about it, but occasionally we will do parking warnings, especially at the beginning of the year. But you could get a ticket starting right now, because after November 1st, that winter parking season could be in effect. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, very good. Okay. Yeah, good things to keep in mind. We're going to talk about a lot of other important and, frankly, interesting things. Big public safety issue in Beaver Dam yesterday. We're going to talk more about that right after this break. You're listening to Community Comment on 95.3 WBEV, powered by Daily Dodge.
Bell.
Thank you very much, Jake. We're talking to Beaver Dam Police Lieutenant Jeremiah Johnson about everything the police department is doing to help keep us safe and happy. If you have a question or a comment for Jeremiah, we invite you to join the conversation. You can call us or text us at 920-887-9595, or you can call the studio line at 885-4446. Well, just yesterday we had a pretty serious public safety matter with a long and sometimes a pretty dangerous pursuit happening.
Absolutely.
Stretching all the way from Winnebago County to Reeseville.
Correct. Yeah. So yesterday, I want to say it was the early afternoon, a state trooper attempted a traffic stop on a vehicle near Oshkosh in Winnebago County. Speeds got pretty high. They terminated the pursuit at that point. I'm sure there were a lot of other people on the roadway, and considering the reasons for the stop, it wasn't this vehicle wasn't necessarily wanted for, there wasn't a murder suspect in it. It wasn't a bank robbery. It was a traffic stop at that point in time. So, and we talk about this in law enforcement a lot as to high-speed pursuits, how dangerous they are. And little side note before we get any further into actually what happened, there's two really dangerous things that we come in contact with being in law enforcement. If you look at fallen officers throughout the United States, it varies from year to year, but a lot of officers, about half of them, die in the line of duty from felonious assaults. People with firearms or something else happens where they're confronting a suspect and they die in the line of duty from something like that. The other half tends to be motor vehicle related, whether that be a high-speed pursuit where there's a crash that happens, whether that be a traffic stop in a busy area and a motorist would hit someone, including the officer, or other related things like that. So there's two things that we do that are dangerous. I carry a firearm with me. That's pretty dangerous. Those are things that we can get involved with that we don't ever want to see in our careers, but it does happen. And that's a huge issue. But we drive our cars every day. I maybe pull out my gun maybe once a month, maybe 2 times a month, depending on what the situation is. And very rarely do I ever have to discharge my firearm in the line of duty. In fact, the last time I did was on a deer. You know what I'm saying? So anyways, we put a lot of practice into our firearms. We put a lot of practice into our driving as well, and we should, because when we get in those high-speed chases, we're exposing every car that we pass by. We're exposing every pedestrian, and we're literally driving around maybe like a half-ton bullet, if you will, at 100 miles an hour, depending on the situation. That's dangerous. It's just as dangerous as firing a weapon.
Well, yeah, and you mentioned a good point. I mean, what do we as civilians do? I'm out walking my dog or driving to the grocery store when I just happen to be at the wrong place at the wrong time.
Exactly.
Was there anything? I don't know if this is the kind of thing like people should constantly be on the lookout for, but it could happen to anyone at any time.
Sure, exactly. So, with that said, we think about that kind of stuff because it's our job to think about that kind of stuff. You get into a firearm situation, you can look around and get an instant idea of what's going on. But when you're driving in that car, you're moving positions so quickly that situation can change. You can be driving down the highway at one point in time, you can take a left turn and now you're in the school zone. You know what I mean? And depending on what time of day that is, it's good, bad. That's exactly, 3 in the morning is different than 3 in the afternoon. And you hit it right on the head. Is like, we want to avoid those situations where if you're walking your dog and let's say the high-speed pursuit were to take a corner a little too short, we're on the sidewalk, that's not good. Whether that be the suspect or the officer for that matter. So that's why we take those situations so seriously, and that's why you hear about termination of pursuits.
Well, you answer my next question perhaps is like, what factors figure into a decision to stop a chase?
Correct. So every situation is different. And a lot of that comes into is what was the original offense. And there's a lot out there that, says that, your basic traffic stop, somebody's running because they're speeding. What else is in that car? Who are the people that are in it? Do they have warrants? Did they just do something that we don't know about? We have a right and we have a responsibility as law enforcement officers to figure out what that is, but we have to weigh those consequences of, was something bad were to happen? Was it worth it? and sometimes it's yes, sometimes it's no, and it depends on what that consequence is too. So I say if someone gets hurt or seriously or killed, it's not worth it. We'll get them on a different day. You know what I'm saying?
Well, I was thinking if you have a vehicle description and a plate,
yeah.
You bought yourself some time.
Exactly. Yes, we can track that vehicle down, whether that be through the license plate readers, where the registered owner lives. We can do an investigation, and we can prove that crime regardless of having them there right in front of us in handcuffs at that point in time. Mm-hmm. So it does take a lot for law enforcement officers to sometimes let go of that and be like, all right, this one's, and the smart ones, when there's a lot of them out there that are smart, hopefully I'm one of them, that make those wise decisions to walk away from something. It's not about ego, it's not about pride or anything like that, but to maybe step on the brakes and be like, all right, we're going to let this go and we'll solve this later. Mm-hmm. We've got enough. So, and I think that happened several times yesterday throughout this pursuit of, I believe, the state trooper said, nope, not worth it. I believe there's an instance in Fond du Lac County as well where they picked up the same vehicle. They said, not worth it. Our officer in Beaver Dam did the same thing. So eventually this vehicle, getting on to what happened, passed a license plate reader camera. We realized that it was near Beaver Dam, so our officers went to the edge of the city waiting for it to show up. It did. We tried to stop the vehicle once we had other officers on the way. It took off immediately. That pursuit was on. It was a brief pursuit through the city and back out down south towards Reeseville, and we terminated the pursuit once we realized that speeds were getting too high. It's too dangerous. It's not worth getting hurt over. Mm-hmm. So we terminated that pursuit. We don't like people getting away. We do want to bring people to justice, and there are times where we will continue to pursue, and it just wasn't that case yesterday. So.
Frankly, one comment I saw on a chatter page, to be honest, was you can't outrun a radio.
That is correct. Absolutely, 100%. And that's what happened yesterday, is that the whole county was involved. We had our SROs out there. We had detectives, and I know the sheriff's office did as well. Juneau, all the other agencies in the area, they were on the lookout for this car. We knew where they were, and like you said, you can't outrun a radio. I believe even the State Patrol had utilized, because of the initial pursuit up in Winnebago County, they had their air unit up as well, looking for this vehicle. So you can't outrun the radio. That's a very good point.
Yeah, for sure. So it was. I guess you have to be quite happy that your department and many others were able to bring this to a conclusion without anybody getting hurt.
That's right. Yeah. To the best of my knowledge, I think there were some muddy clothes. That's is the worst that it got. The suspects eventually, they realized that the heat was on them. They found a spot in Reeseville where they ditched their vehicle. They entered a second vehicle. The circumstances of that I leave to the press release and the district attorney criminal complaint. But long story short, they were found in a different vehicle in the area, and they surrendered, and people are in custody. So,
okay, all right. Gosh, I don't know anything else about these kind of situations you wanted to share with the audience.
Oh, those are more common than your felonious assaults that we have in Dodge County. We do have a lot of high-speed pursuits, and I just want people to know that if we ever terminate a pursuit, it's for a darn good reason. We don't want criminals getting away in our community. We do want to bring them to justice, but there are times where the public safety aspect is far outweighs the enforcement of the law aspect. So that's why we make those decisions like we do, and hopefully we continue to make wise decisions. And yeah, I just wanted to talk about that's a serious thing that we think about on a regular basis at our department in Beaver Dam and throughout Dodge County as well.
And you're saying it's more common than the typical civilian might realize?
Yeah, I would say that it depends, and we've seen a decrease in high-speed pursuits this year, but we have anywhere between, I would say, 4 to 12 pursuits every year that we get involved in just at the City of Beaver Dam Police Department. So. Yeah. Some of them are short, some of them are long, some are terminated, some are successfully apprehended to people. But yeah, it does happen. People tend to think they can flee and get away, but they rarely do.
Especially in this day and age, I would think it's hard to get away with much.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah. I mean, it's amazing. You can take a picture of a vehicle and post it on Facebook, and the community will see that. Someone knows who they are. They'll tell us. So yeah, it's all stuff that people should think about if they feel that it's something that they would consider running from the police. And it's a felony too. It stays with you. You get prison time. It's not a good thing. So.
All right. Well, yeah. Well, thank goodness for a successful conclusion to that. We do need to take a break right here. It's time for the news, but we'll be right back. You're listening to Community Comment on 95.3 WBEV, powered by Daily Dodge.
The
jump back into the action here on 95.3 WBEV and Community Comment. Here's Terry Bell.
Thank you very much, Jake. We're talking to Beaver Dam Police Lieutenant Jeremiah Johnson about staying safe and all of that during this time of year. If you would like to join us with a question or a comment, you can call or text 920-887-9595, or you can call the studio line at 885-4446. And we were just talking about the fact that snow is in the forecast. It's November. Things are getting chilly, and the holidays are coming.
That's right.
And you work in cooperation with a lot of different. I mean, it's not the police department does not act alone. You cooperate with a lot of groups and individuals in the community to do good things. And we're going to spend this segment talking a bit about that.
Sure, absolutely. So we have a good partnership with all of our fellow governmental agencies, law enforcement agencies, but we also work with a lot of charities as well, too, one of them namely being the Salvation Army. And you might ask yourself, well, how does law enforcement and Salvation Army go hand in hand? Well, a lot of the times we come across individuals in need. Sometimes there's some issues where something bad happens. Let's say there's a domestic incident that happens. Someone doesn't feel safe staying at home, and we can't necessarily get them into a safe place because, let's say, family lives out of state, friends aren't available, et cetera, et cetera. Well, we want to keep them safe. Sometimes the Salvation Army steps up for us, and they're able to provide a voucher that allows them to stay in a local hotel, for that night. It's a temporary fix, but it's something that is very valuable to us in law enforcement and the rest of the community as well. Other instances, include, let's say, somebody's house had a fire, the Red Cross isn't available immediately, et cetera, et cetera. We can either get funds from the Salvation Army to provide certain things for them, or, like I said, that voucher again for a hotel. There's other instances where things happen where people are down on their luck. We can get them a hotel room. This is not like a guarantee, but there's certain instances that that would qualify for this. A lot of the times we partner with our St. Vincent de Paul, which is another organization. They can provide all sorts of things, clothing, furniture, etc. And they also use Salvation Army vouchers as well too. Anyways, that need that we have in our community are things that we stumble across where we can do some good. It's nice to have that. It all costs money. It all, that's just the way it is. But with that said, it is the Christmas season. The Salvation Army does the Red Kettle campaign and the ringing of the bells. You see them at all the local stores and retailers, etc. That's a huge thing. That is their primary source of funding for things like vouchers. All the charitable donations and assistance that they give is almost all funded through those donations that we get around the Christmas season. More important now than ever for these donations. A perfect example is this at the end of summer, we ran out of vouchers. They just did not have enough money to fund that program. We're back up and running again, thank goodness. But that is because of the money that we get or they get through the Red Kettle campaign. So I spoke with the regional representative for Dodge County recently. They are setting everything up and getting everything ready to go. We're actually going to try to have some police officers. I know I'm going to take a section of time and ring the bell somewhere, maybe Walmart, we'll see, and ring the bell. I highly encourage members of the community to do the same thing as well. Or if you see that Red Kettle and got some spare change, feel free to drop some spare change in there because it does help. Every little bit helps. So highly encourage that. It is something that we as police officers make sure that it's going to a worthy place. So we're not allowing people to take advantage of the system when people come to us for vouchers. So if there's ever that kind of where's this money really going? And it is going to a good place. And it's not just our vouchers. It's St. Vincent de Paul. It's directly from the Salvation Army and other governmental organizations as well too. So
yeah, I think people would be very interested in knowing that, and people may be surprised that the police department and the Salvation Army work so closely together. But I imagine it makes a lot of sense that the police department would be working with those groups that are out there. They're helping people who are down on their luck,
Right.
because the work goes hand in hand. I imagine a lot of your work and their work overlaps.
Sure. Yes. And I always have this saying that says, no news is good news when it comes to law enforcement. If we're knocking on your door, chances are it's not good news, right? And we see people on some pretty bad days sometimes, and sometimes it's their worst days of their life, depending on what it is. Occasionally, we're lucky enough to be knocking on the door and say, "Hey, somebody found your wallet," and or "Hey, we got a lost dog here. Is it yours?" That sort of thing. So that's unfortunate in law enforcement. But if we have the opportunity to make that day better, if we have that opportunity to get somebody on the right path, that's what it's all about right there. So I mentioned before, too, another community partner, we have the Salvation Army, we have St. Vincent de Paul. We also have Community Action Council, which is just right next door to us at the Beaver Dam Police Department. They work on long-term solutions to homelessness as well. So although the voucher might be the step in the right direction for a day or two, getting into a nice warm hotel room, that Community Action Council community resource that we have, they have access to even more resources for long-term solutions where like that voucher might be a Band-Aid, but the Community Action Council is going to be able to provide that step in the right direction, getting a job, getting some lower income or people in need to get a affordable housing for them. They have resources to point people in the right direction at those places where they accept governmental funding, and they have government funding for temporary or even a path to more permanent things. So I highly recommend it, and that's what I always say is one of the first questions I ask when we do give a voucher is, what's your plan? What's going to happen tomorrow? And if they don't know, I'm going to, get Monday morning, get into Community Action Council, tell them what's going on, and see if we can get you on a long-term solution. So that's huge.
So when officers out ringing the bells, are they going to be in uniform?
Yes, that's the plan. Absolutely. Yep. Yeah. Kind of have to. Right. Especially when people know who you are, you got to wear the uniform. So I was going to say, we're going to try and ring the bells too as officers, but if there's people who are listening right now, if you want to register to ring the bells, you can go to registertoring.com, and that'll take you to the Salvation Army website, and you can click on there and you can schedule a time and a place where if you are interested, and you and your family, it doesn't have to be just one person, bring the kids with you if you want. It's kind of a good thing for them to see mom and dad volunteering as well. You can do that. Starting Monday, all the Dodge County sites and locations will be uploaded into there. So if you want to wait till Monday, but that is registertoring.com. If you need help with that website, or if you just want to talk with the person about it, I have contact information here for our rep. It's Jeannie Sager, and her phone number, her business number is area code 920-304-9161. Once again, that's 920-304-9161, or you can email her as well at sager@uscsalvationarmy.org. So that's SAGER, the @ symbol, USC, Salvation Army, all one word, .org. And she will help you out if you have trouble with the website, or if you just rather talk with a person, or if you want to register right now, she can do all that for you. Otherwise, starting Monday, registertoring.com. And like I said, I can personally guarantee that the money that is going into this organization is 100% going to people in need. The Salvation Army has been around for a long time. It's a trusted source, and like I said, a good partner for us here in Dodge County and in the city of Beaver Dam. So, yes.
Yeah, I think people would be interested in knowing it. It may, get them even more interested in donating or volunteering.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, I'm sorry. Say that again.
Yeah. The people, if they know, the extent to which the Salvation Army and the police department work together, to help people, that might make them even more interested in dropping some change into the kettle or signing up for a bell ringing shift.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, absolutely.
Excellent. We need to take a break here, but we will be right back. You're listening to Community Comment on 95.3 WBEV, powered by Daily Dodge.
The Beaver Here's Terry Bow.
Thank you very much, Jake. We're talking with Lieutenant Jeremiah Johnson of the Beaver Dam Police Department. If you have a question or a comment, you can be a part of the show. You can call us or text us at 920-887-9595, or you can call our studio line at 885-4446. There's a change coming, a new addition to the police departments that I know has an opportunity to make some real positive impacts, and that is the fact that social workers
Yes.
will be riding along with officers out on patrol in the near future.
Absolutely. So, yes, we have a trial program that we received a grant for. Currently, and over the last several months, Dodge County has utilized a co-responder that will assist and come out on crisis calls. So if someone's having a mental health crisis, someone is suicidal, if someone is in need of some sort of stabilization, we have access to a co-responder to come out and assist us. Now, the Beaver Dam Police Department, starting in December, will have a second crisis co-responder coming with us and being based out of the Beaver Dam Police Department. Both of our crisis co-responders will respond to calls all throughout Dodge County, but the second one is going to be stationed with us, riding along with us, and helping us out in the city is kind of like their primary focus. So we're very excited to have this. We've seen throughout the years an increase either to the awareness of or an actual increase to mental health individuals that struggle with mental health in our community across the United States, and it's an issue that takes a different type of focus, and it takes a long time to address. You can't fix some problems overnight. Sometimes you can. Sometimes you can just be like, this one thing, boom, solves it, and people go on their way. And that's what law enforcement in general is good at. The quick fix. We go, hey, you're in crisis. Okay, let's get the safety plan together. We're going to get you with a family member. Do you have a counselor? No, let's set you up with one. Oh, you do have a counselor. All right, when's your next appointment? Or something to the effect of, oh my goodness, you are very suicidal right now. We understand this. Do you want some help? We get them some help if we get them into a mental health hospital, or if against their will we have to do an emergency detention, heaven forbid, but it does happen sometimes. And then the next day we move on to something else. That's what law enforcement does, because there's an accident over here, there's this threat over here. And for us to have an additional resource, such as a social worker, such as our co-responder that we're talking about here, is going to be incredibly valuable to us. The experience that we've had so far with our co-responder, the one that we've had that is in Dodge County in general, has been super positive. She is able to spend additional time. She'll check in tomorrow, being that her job is exactly that, to maintain that rapport with that person, to make sure that they're going through the steps that they need to get some better mental health, to check in on them. And now to have that in the city of Beaver Dam, where we'll have that closer to us. We'll be riding along with her, and she will get to know some of our clients that we come across. It's just going to be a very, very good thing. So, and it will help us be more efficient as officers, not only just allowing us to concentrate on law enforcement stuff when we need to, but also to better serve people that when we come across there's a mental health crisis, she's going to be able to train us in how to ask the right questions and get the right resources and handle certain situations. And it's hand in hand with that, with having them by us. We hope that it's going to be a positive thing for the community, and I'm sure it will be. So
okay, and that starts in mid-December.
Yeah, mid-December is what we're thinking. December 15th is the date that I've heard, and everything is going to plan right now and moving towards that. So we'll have, I'm sure, lots of updates, which I can bring to you on Community Comment here every month of how it's going. And I have to ask her if she'd be willing to join us.
Okay.
But
okay,
you know,
we
what
shouldn't
I mean?
speak on her behalf.
Congratulations, come on. It's I don't know if the show's for everybody.
That's fair.
But yeah, I don't know if I can even order her. Like my officers on second shift, like, come on, you're coming on the radio with me. I'm joking, of course. The only people who volunteer, but that's one of those things. But I'm sure she would enjoy at least providing feedback and why she's interested in this, and some of the things that we encounter and how we're working on problems in the community to solve them and make it a better place to live for everybody.
Yeah,
So,
we'd love to hear more about it. Talking about people, the calls you get, mental health crisis calls, kind of segues into the next thing I want to ask you about, especially now with the weather getting colder.
Oh, sure.
I imagine that this is a critical time of year for people in the community who are homeless.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. So temperatures are plummeting. We talked about those Salvation Army vouchers, which they're great to have, but they're a Band-Aid. You know what I mean? We can only afford so many before funds run out. And if there's someone who's homeless and struggling with homelessness, there's lots of causes for that. Sometimes it could be mental health. Sometimes it could be literally an issue where they're unable to find the job. Sometimes it's an issue where they've had a dependable resource in their life that is suddenly something has changed where that resource is gone, and they struggle to find a replacement resource for it, and the many reasons for that. So it is a complex problem. It's not an issue of, hey, you're in the park after hours, you got to leave, go on, move to something else. That's move on. That only solves
That's sweeping the problem under the rug.
Exactly,
it's not solving
exactly.
it.
Correct.
Yeah.
So those sorts of things, and I don't have the answer. That is something that we've struggled with in our society for a long, long time, and there's many causes, and I don't know what the solution is per se, but giving a little bit of caring with it, that certainly helps. We tend to look at it as far as like money, you know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Like it comes down to a lot of money, and that's just the way it is in our society. But as far as solving the problem, it does take more than just the police department. So we know that if there's a mental health problem, I think a co-responder like that is a great thing to have, because we can spend a little bit more time with that issue, and say, hey, we've even seen it before where there's a dependency on alcohol that was preventing someone getting a job because of their struggles with that alcoholism. If you can take the alcoholism and treat it and get to that sobriety, well, then you can get that job. You can keep that job for a long period of time. You can get that apartment. You can get that house as time goes on. And I've seen everything from just an ultimate refusal to get any help whatsoever. And this is just where we are, and all I worry about is my next drink, to someone who gets off the wagon, or gets on the wagon for a little bit, falls off the wagon, we see them again, it comes back. And I've seen other times where they get some help and we never see them again because they're out living their life, and it's a good life, and they've solved their problem, and they're moving on, they're sober, and things like that. So sometimes there's that X factor, whether that be a chemical dependency, alcoholism, drugs, otherwise, whether that may be a mental health thing, whether that be emotional, it could be many, many things. Sometimes you look at families that are homeless and you have issues where there's domestic violence in their life, where they're too afraid to go back, but too afraid to make connections elsewhere, or they're unable, or they're running away from something, whether that be, you see that a lot as well. And it's a complex set of problems. You can't, as a police officer, we don't have a whole lot of time. We try to solve that problem in the 15 minutes to an hour to 2 hours to the next day, whatever that might be. But it's, we have to reach out and go beyond what we do at the law enforcement level.
It's got to be a real delicate balancing act, because you're dealing with people who are dealing with crises of their own, and maybe you're not there of circumstances of their own making, or maybe they are.
Right.
But also the fact is, I imagine you're getting calls when problems are being caused for the safety and well-being of the public at large.
Correct.
And you have to deal with the situation, but it may not be as straightforward as people may think.
Right. And that happens on a regular basis, yes. And sometimes when we have those callers that call and they don't understand why we can't fix the problem, I spend a little bit more time with them to explain, like, here's what happened. Here's what we can do. Here's what we're trying to do. There are times as well where people don't want help, that they're very happy where they're at. And sometimes, like you said, winter's coming. Being, homeless in the summer is not as bad as being homeless in the winter. Don't get me wrong. It's not fun either, anytime. There's no doubt about that. But when things start getting cold and you're living out of your car, whether or not you've got money for gas to turn on the heat, it's not fun in the winter, and that's where you got to ask, like, you might have been okay now, you're not okay now. I'm sorry, you were okay then, you're not okay now is what I'm trying to say. Yeah. What can we do? You want to revisit this? Do we want to get a long-term solution to this and pointing them in the right direction? I talked about the Community Action Council too, where they have resources where they can get low-income housing, where they can get additional vouchers, where they can, I don't know if they have vouchers, but you understand what I'm saying. Like they are like the experts at getting that long-term solution, where when someone's ready to get that help, when someone's ready to face whatever it was that caused this homelessness, they're there to get you back on your feet and in the right direction. And they provide a lot more flexibility for those people who don't have money to put down on an apartment right then and there because they don't have that job yet,
Right,
and
for sure.
Yeah.
I'm afraid we're out of town, but
All right.
it's been a fascinating hour. Thanks, Jeremiah Johnson,
Absolutely.
as always, for being with us.
Thanks for having me.
You've been listening to Community Comment on 95.3 WBEV, powered by Daily Dodge.
Get into the